Gosh, what I'd give to hear some music.
Playing all the best music all of the time. You're listening to 100.3 CKRZ. It's gonna be fun having fun.
The comments heard in the following presentation are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Sonics Incorporated or CKRZ.
Welcome to CKRZ. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Joining us today, we have Six Nations elected chief, Mark Hill, who is here to provide us with an update. And he has brought a guest with him, and we will get to our guest in just a moment. But first, I would like to thank Chief Hill very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. So good afternoon to the Six Nations of the Grand River Territory and all of our community members. I hope you and your families are safe at home and remain well in our trying times. I want to acknowledge elected councillor Nathan Wright for responding to the issues that arose this past weekend and say that I respect and appreciate the elected council as well as the Haudenosaunee Confederacy Chiefs Council for their strength and care for this community. But I feel compelled as the elected chief to make a clear statement on my unwavering position because it has not and will not change. We at Six Nations are in a state of emergency, and this community has joined together to work diligently and to make sure safety measures are in place and are adhered to. So I ask you to make no mistake and believe me when I say I remain committed to openness, accountability, and transparency, and do not condone or support in any way, shape, or form the actions taken Saturday, April 18th to host large gatherings in our territory. This is about openness, and so although I am in a conflict with the person who held the one gathering, I will do everything I can to support the elected council and the Six Nations Police to enforce the law of. Everyone must be held accountable, especially for blatant disregard for community safety. It is unacceptable and cannot be tolerated, and I want to thank the community for its support and strength to ensure accountability as well. With that said, I want to share that the Six Nations elected council is working with Nighthawk Security and the Haudenosaunee Confederacy Chiefs Council representatives to address security and checkpoint access. Please watch for the next edition of the Six Nations newsletter that will include a COVID-19 financial report, upcoming initiatives in the community, and a more detailed information on the checkpoints so everyone can understand what to expect. To get a start on that understanding, Nighthawk Security is here with me today, and I'd like to ask Mike Player some questions about what's going on the ground as we hear and see a lot of rumors, especially on social media, so I think it's important to get the facts and hear firsthand. So again, I want to welcome Mike Player. Thank you for joining us this afternoon, Mike. And first off, just to begin, I would like to ask if you can give us a brief background on your company, Nighthawk Security, how long you've been in business, who do you work for, etc.
Okay, thanks for having me, Mark. First off, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you to all of the community members that have stepped up to my company to help out at the checkpoints, to provide security through weather like today that we're experiencing, through the nights, through the pouring rain. It's been overwhelming, to say the least, and these people on the front lines, we owe everything to in this community. So I have a lot of respect for everybody who's stepped up and taken on that responsibility. I want to say thank you to all the people who have provided food and drinks at all the checkpoints, all the community members that are pitching in with firewood, with PPE, with masks. The support has really been overwhelming, and it's absolutely tremendous. So I just, from the bottom of my heart, I thank all of the people who are pitching in and supporting this initiative. So Nighthawk Protection Services was started in 2010 by myself and my brother Stuart Player. We're both equal partners in the company. And we both came from a casino background, so we were both security supervisors for the OLG in the casino industry. So work-wise, we came from a huge industry that was really big on customer service. And we always knew that if we started something on our own, we both had desire to be in policing early in life, and for different reasons that didn't happen. So when we just decided to start this company, we knew that customer service was the way that we wanted to go. It's important to build long-term lasting relationships with clients based on customer service initiatives. So that kind of explains who we are as a company. I've faced a lot of things on social media over the past few days. And I would like to go on the record and say that my brother Stuart and I have not sold out to anybody, ever. And as a matter of fact, us taking on this initiative, we've risked everything to do so, because a lot of our current clients are members of the local tobacco economy. And we've had a long-standing relationship with some of those. And I'm hoping we'll continue to do that long after this is gone. So, you know, this wasn't about anything economical. It was a moral decision that weighed heavy on my heart, since my wife and I have a daughter with a long-term health condition, and she's vulnerable. So the decision to take this initiative on, it was deep in my heart. So regardless of what people say, it certainly wasn't for any money. It certainly wasn't for any attaboys or accolades. It was to morally protect those who can't protect themselves in this community, and that is the only reason why I can, and it's the reason that keeps me going when I want to quit. When I've been doing 18 and 20-hour days in my truck, sanitizing my steering wheel 200 times in a day. The thing that keeps me going is my family at home, and knowing that we're saving lives by what we're doing. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, thank you so much for that, Mike. You know, again, even to kind of reiterate some of your comments as well, you know, this is also a very trying time for myself as well, being in this position as Chief of Six Nations, and as well now having some issues internally with my family, and family comes first for me as well, and so that's definitely been some difficult times. So thank you for that. I'm going to go into now some questions, just so that we can again look to get some factual information out there. Question number one: how many people do you have working at the checkpoints right now, and who are they?
Okay, so when we currently took on this initiative, Nighthawk Protection Services, we had our current payroll was 58. So that was before the checkpoints happened. We currently have 94 people on payroll for the checkpoints alone, and they are 94 new community members, Six Nations band members. So the total complement is close to 150, I believe. They're all Six Nations band members, like I said, and it's a mix from different families, from different religious beliefs, some traditional backgrounds, some more modern backgrounds. It's a mix of people geographically. Some of the band members do live off the territory, but they are all members of this community, and we all really share the common strategy and the common belief of what this is supposed to do. So I feel confident knowing that everybody who is currently working for this initiative is on board with me and what I believe. I have to have that confidence knowing that they're pushing our initiatives. Now, I'm not saying that some people don't make mistakes. You know, there's been lots of rumors that I've dealt with over the weeks that we've been doing this, and some mistakes have been made. Some people, you know, for whatever reason, do from time to time push their own initiatives or their own agendas, and forget what the common goal is. But you know, I can assure, as a company and all the directives that I received from the emergency control group, the initiative has not changed. You know, we're doing this to protect our community, and we've established a system to do that, and we haven't wavered from that system, even though, you know, some individual cases we've had to deal with that, and we are dealing with it as it goes along. I think we had the discussion that, you know, there is no instruction manual for what we're faced with, and there is no rule book. We're kind of writing it as we go, so, you know, my I guess wish is that all of the community members that do have negative things to say, that they try to understand that it's not an easy task what we're doing, and each individual situation at each individual checkpoint is in fact an individual situation, and we try to eliminate all of the negatives from happening. Any altercations that happen, we try to, you know, minimize everything, and but sometimes it's a hard task to accomplish.
Definitely. Thank you for that, Mike. Question number 2. So what's the story, the facts of what's actually happening on the front lines? Can you share some examples?
Sure. So I can the one thing I can say is social media is public enemy number one for all of us during this crisis. I encourage people to stay off social media, especially anybody who I have working at the checkpoints, because it's like pouring gasoline on a fire. If you engage in social media, and I'm guilty of it just like everybody else. You know, I can only take so much or so many text messages from people saying that somebody said this about me or that about me, and it's very difficult to deal with. And you know, the funniest rumor is, of course, that I'm in somebody's back pocket and somebody's paid me off to allow people to come onto the territory, and that's absolutely ridiculous. It is not true. It makes me laugh because my wife, Audrey, she put a Facebook post up, and it said, for anybody who wants to know, Mike doesn't work for anybody except for me. And you know, that kind of humor has been good for me, because I do get upset when people say things that are absolutely not true. So that really helped me through that whole process. But as far as what's actually happening, the real story is, it's quite simple. The real story is that we're saving lives. And I truly believe that because of the numbers. Now, we have one checkpoint out of the 9 that is very busy. It's Highway 54 and Painter Road. It's arguably the busiest. Maybe 6th Line is, you know, close in comparison, but on a 12-hour day shift, the people working at the checkpoint at Painter Road turn away on average 100 people in a 12-hour day shift. So from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., they turn away 100 people at that checkpoint. And people are complaining that they're getting turned away there, but those numbers, that 100 people on average that they turn away, is shoppers only. People who are looking for cheap cigarettes or cheap gas. It doesn't include the questionable people that they may have, or they don't believe their story, or it doesn't include that. It's just shoppers only. People who say they're here to buy cigarettes. Sorry. So it's at one checkpoint of 9 in 12 hours, it's 100 people. So strictly by the numbers alone, that we're turning away that many people that are trying to get onto this territory, it tells me that lives are being saved.
That's great. Thank you so much for that again, Mike. Question number 3. What are the security people looking for when allowing people into our community? And I know we have changes forthcoming, but if you could best answer as to the current,
so
until those changes.
Sure. Obviously, the color passes are what we're using. So the color-coded passes, and my initiative hasn't changed. We're still respecting that system. Not everybody is complying as much as we did in the beginning, because the color passes have become extremely compromised. There's been literally thousands and thousands and thousands of copies of them made. So it's a system that, you know, it's evolving, and we're adapting as quickly as we possibly can to address those issues. So currently they're using a color-coded passes still. If it's somebody they recognize, if it's a community member they know, they're not asking them to roll down their window and converse with them if they have a purple pass. It's still valid. Those passes are still valid. It's anytime you see, you know, a resident that may have a carload of people with them, then questions have to be asked. You know, they may be a resident, but if they have 3 non-residents in the vehicle with them, why are they bringing them onto the territory? So those are all the things that we're sort of adapting to as we go along. And you know, I've had multiple complaints of some of the checkpoint guards reaching into vehicles and grabbing the papers and ripping them up, and actually some of the checkpoint guards throwing a stack of purple papers into a burn barrel. Like, I've had complaints that just go across the entire spectrum. So I just want everybody to know that the system that we currently are using with the color-coded passes is still what we accept, but the enhanced security measures that we're using are, we are asking people questions if we think that they maybe shouldn't be on the territory. So, you know, we just ask everybody, especially residents, we're not in the practice of trying to upset our own people. That's not what we're doing this for. You know, we're doing this to protect our own people. But unfortunately, we have to ask questions sometimes. And some people, you know, may not like it. They may suffer from PTSD, and anytime someone questions them, they get nervous. I understand all that, and we're trying to be like really culturally sensitive. We always try to do that as a company anyway, but I'm really trying to make sure that everybody's on the same page, and you know, with almost 100 people, sometimes it can be a monumental task all the time. So,
and I know just of some background, and you know, when we were working with the emergency control group and the elected council as well as yourself, you know, we had that potential, right, that these were going to be compromised,
yeah.
And we knew that, but again, we had to act quickly within the time frame that we had in order to get some sort of ID verification system in place.
Absolutely, yes.
And so, you know, moving forward, we realize and understand the changes that we have to make. And I believe that you'll see those changes come forward in a new plan in place, and we'll make sure that the community is well aware of those changes coming forward.
Great, yep.
Okay, so thank you again for that one. Question number 4 then, how would one deal with confrontation at a checkpoint?
So I would hope that most of the people who are working for this initiative know who I am. They've learned who I am and how I would want things handled. Everybody's an individual, so people handle stress on a wide spectrum. We do have things in place, like I have contracted 2 valuable resources that have been involved with me through this entire process, helping Stu and I run this entire initiative, and it's Gary Johnson and Colin Martin. They, right from the hiring process, going, you know, referring people that they thought would work out really good in this initiative, and to handling the ongoing day-to-day operations when I've been run down and you know, I do have to take a break or deal with my regular operation as it was before this pandemic hit us. So they've been an incredible resource, and they're constantly patrolling from site to site. We've established certain checkpoints. Certain ones of us are in charge of other checkpoints, and it's been a really good system. You know, so anytime there's any issues, usually communication's been the big problem, because there really is no technology right now that could make us all be in contact with each other on such a short notice and with a limited budget. You know, if we had an unlimited budget, then communication, like we could build towers or put technology on towers to be able to communicate with one another at such a far distance. So communication's been the tough thing. So there have been guys that have had to handle situations on their own. A few visitors coming onto the territory to be adamant at buying cigarettes, and things have gotten physical, and we've had to deal with both OPP and Six Nations Police Service for a few incidents. But other than that, you know, I think because of what this is and the reasons why we're doing this, I can't remember a time when the Confederacy system and elected council have come together with the same initiative and showed as much support as they have for my company. My brother and I sat in a meeting when the first day that we started this. We had about an hour-long meeting, and to have a couple of the chiefs there to give us their blessing on a directive that really came from elected council. They approached us, and to have those chiefs there and give their blessing after the meeting and tell people, you know, follow what these guys are doing, listen to them, work together. It was really encouraging, and I was really proud to be part of this, and I'm still proud. You know, it's been a sense of pride all along, and I'm really happy to be heading this, although it's really aging me.
I know I also do have the utmost respect for our traditional leaders and clan mothers. And again, you know, the main focus right now is the protection of our people.
Yep.
And I think, you know, we need to maintain exactly what we're doing so that we can continue to flatten the curve, and, you know, that we can be able to all be there for each other when this is all said and done. So again, thank you for that. Going on to then question number 5. How safe do the checkpoint staff feel, given that they're working 24/7 at these checkpoints?
This question is, to me, it's touchy. I think that a lot of the people on the front lines are very proud of what they're doing as well. So safety is not, it's not always at the front of your mind while you're performing something that you've been tasked to do, especially on the front lines, when it's, you know, essential services, any essential service. You ask a police officer or a firefighter or a paramedic or anybody who's on the front lines, a nurse that goes into a hospital every day, do they feel safe? The obvious answer is no. None of us feel safe right now. But I think with how my brother and I have handled this entire situation, and how you know, we've contracted the right people that we can trust, that can handle things when we're not able to be there. I think that everybody, the safety level is satisfactory. I will say this, and I'll say it with caution, because I've had a long, really good standing relationship with the Six Nations Police Service. But I'm gonna say I've been a little bit disappointed at their response, and then they're making us feel that they have our back while we're on the front lines. You know, I have no problem responding to any issues in a timely fashion, but I think it's, you know, maybe their call volume is somewhere where it shouldn't be. But I will say that I've been able to respond to every incident before they do, and that shouldn't happen. And that's, I'm somewhat disappointed in that. It's our own service, you know, that the fact that we deal with issues, that personal safety, and in a timely fashion, that personal safety should be at the forefront. I don't think OPP should be responding before that. And that's been the case.
And I think that's something that, you know, as elected council, that we can continue to look to address and have those conversations of concerns with the police, so that we again can make sure that we're all on that same page.
Yeah, and I want nothing more than that. You know, I need to know that the people that I'm trusting on the front lines, that everybody involved has their back as well.
Definitely.
Because I've promised them I do.
Right. Okay, well, thanks again for that. Moving into my next question then, how can we do this better? Because we know our community members have rights as well. And we understand that we have to have balance. And what does that look like from your perspective?
Well, like I said, I think because there is no instruction manual, it is evolving. We're learning as we go, and we've been faced with some things that we don't know the answers to, or that we're forced to come up with a solution really quickly.
Reactive.
Yeah. So the entire project has been reactive, right from the start. It was forced on us quicker than we had planned. So, like I said, it's been reactive. But I will say this: it's working, and that's what's encouraging. You know, the initiative of why we did this. In my heart, I believe it's working, and I think so. I don't think it needs to be fixed. I just think we need to pay attention to what needs to evolve and adapt as we go along. You know, the one thing I'll say is, you know, any irresponsible community members who do not take this COVID-19 situation seriously and put our community members at risk, that's on them. We can't control what they do as community members. You know, I don't agree with it. I think it's irresponsible and I don't like it, but it's, you know, that's where the blame belongs. It doesn't belong on me. It doesn't belong on you. It belongs on anybody who's irresponsible and doesn't take this seriously and do their part. If you're bringing people in here because they're giving you $20 to buy smokes for them, then that's on you. It's not on me. It's not on you. It's on the individual that does that. So that's, you know, the only thing in this system that's broken is the ones that are being irresponsible.
Well, thank you for that, Mike. Well, just wanted to sum up to see if you had any last comments or anything that you wanted to say to the community during these difficult and trying times.
It's a mix. It's thank you to those who have supported us and been extremely helpful, supported us with food and with donations, and to those who are skeptical at what we're trying to do or don't agree with it. I just ask that you look at it with an open mind and try to understand what we're trying to do. You know, even the ones that don't agree with me, even the ones that say I'm not right in what I'm doing it for them too. I'm doing it for their families as well. And what I want people to get out of this, when it's all said and done, is the people that were involved and made the decisions to close this territory down didn't do it to damage the economy. You know, that it's going to be hard to repair that. I understand that. But morally, my conviction is because we need to save lives for those who can't save their own lives. For the ones that, you know, are vulnerable, or our elders, or the ones that have the knowledge keepers that we have in this community. They're quite vulnerable.
Exactly.
And that's the only reason. That's our only agenda. So everybody needs to be on the same page.
Definitely. And I know, you know, it was definitely difficult to be in any leadership position and role, you know, at this time. But again, you know, keeping the top priorities, the health and safety of our community, I think is where we're going to maintain. You know, that in mind, as well as the protection of our economy, what that looks like, and things that we'd be putting in place to be doing business safely. So, you know, but again, not jumping the gun too early either. So, you know, there are areas that, you know, we have to, again, further look to and further discuss and have that dialogue and make sure that we're making these decisions again while maintaining the priority.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Mike, well, I want to take this time to say nyawa and thank you and Nighthawk Security, and most sincerely, all of the courageous men and women who are dedicated and working tirelessly at the checkpoints to do their part in keeping our community safe. I just want to say a big nyawa go up to each of you. To the community, we know that the system is not perfect, but we've done good, especially for something we've never experienced before. So please keep that in mind, and to be kind at the checkpoints, and that we are in this together and we will get through it. I want to put a challenge out there to, you know, turn some negativity into some positive, good energy. I think that's our best medicine at this point in time. And to kick off with some good, positive energy, I want to also put out to keep an eye and watch for our newsletter for our plan to keep bread and cheese alive this year, which is which we're going to do in an innovative and creative way, while practicing physical distancing and all public health guidelines. So again, I just want to, you know, make that mention of some good. And so again, we ask that you stay tuned, you stay safe, you stay healthy, and again, please stay home. Again, thank you, Al, thank you, Mike, and thank you to everybody at this time. Yeah.
The comments on the program you've just heard were those